Emergency alerts have been issued following heavy rain on the Gold Coast overnight, and concerns are growing for communities south of the border. Key points: conditions expected to ease on the Gold Coast, but warnings remain in place for northern NSW. Conditions expected to ease on the Gold Coast, but warnings remain in place for northern NSW. Rainfall totals have exceeded expectations, but did not reach the heights seen last month. Rainfall totals have exceeded expectations, but did not reach the heights seen last month. Some communities in northern NSW have been ordered to evacuate. For the second time in a month, Talebjela Valley residents have been urged to shelter in place after devastating floods in February. Gold Coast City Council issued an emergency warning, since cancelled, about life-threatening flash flooding just before 2 a.m. A watch and act emergency alert for Loaders Creek in Southport was also cancelled early today, but evacuation orders have again been issued for communities in northern NSW. Rainfall totals between 200 to 350 millimeters since 9 a.m. on Monday exceeded predications around the Gold Coast. Coplix Bridge in Talebjela received 348 millimeters in 24 hours. Phelim Hanifai from the Bureau of Meteorology said the 292 millimeters deluge at the Gold Coast Seaway, an all-time March record for the area. Pretty significant. And even in terms of daily rainfall total, it's probably heaviest daily rainfall total probably back to June 2005, he said. So really significant totals. Talebjela Creek is swelling after the rain. Coolangatta received about 230 millimeters. Canungra, in the hinterland, recorded about 160 millimeters. Mr. Hanifai said, the worst has passed for the southeast. The main focal point has already shifted south into the northern New South Wales region, he said. As of 7:30 Tuesday morning, about 30 roads around the Gold Coast are affected by flooding, including the Pacific Motorway at Burleigh Heads. Beaches have been closed due to hazardous surf on the Gold Coast. Beaches shut. All beaches on the Gold Coast will be closed today, as dirty and powerful conditions batter the coastline. The swell is quite hazardous. There's a lot of movement close to shore, Chief Lifeguard Chris Maynard said. The water has gone a little dirty as well, as expected with a lot of rain we've gotten overnight. Sandbagging stations are open again on the Gold Coast today. More than 1,400 were handed out yesterday. Gold Coast Deputy Local Disaster Coordinator Sharon Anderson said there could be more flash flooding on the Gold Coast today. Worst case scenario is that we could still have localized flash flooding, she said. We have evacuation sites set up ready to go if needed. We have city staff on standby. We feel very comfortable that we have lots of plans in place to cover any sort of heavy rainfall that might occur today. She said the city was absolutely ready to send resources across the border if needed. Conditions should ease on the Gold Coast today. Anxious wait. Between 100 and 250 millimeters fell across northern NSW since 9 a.m. Monday, about 4 weeks after floods last impacted the region. Residents in Tumbulgum were told to evacuate by high tide at 7 this morning, with floodwaters expected to block access to the small township. Evacuation orders were also in place for Billinudgel, North and South Lismore, and low-lying parts of Mullumbimby. The NSW says has also issued a flood evacuation warning for Condorm, in the northeast, and surrounding areas. A severe weather warning remains in place across the region. The Tweed River has burst its banks. Tweed Shire Mayor Chris Cherry said evacuation centres had been set up at TAFE buildings in Kingscliff and Murwillumbah, and at the Salvation Army store in Banora Point. CR Cherry said people should stay where they were and avoid roads if it was safe to do so. People will have to stay put for a while because it is still raining. We are still getting that water rising, she said. A lot of roads have already been compromised with landslides from the previous floods, and the ground is so waterlogged now that this event has caused some worsening of some of those landslides. Wilson's River in Lismore is rising as heavy rainfall impacts the region. CR Cherry said there was a great deal of anxiety and trauma being triggered in the community. After 5 weeks, people have very much managed to clean out the flood mud out of their homes. They've managed to set themselves back up, get some white goods again, and now this is happening again, she said. Some Australian Defence Force personnel remain in the area, assisting with the recovery efforts.